got so much back, I think I'm never running out, yeah. Bust me down a wood, bitch, I don't do this for no clout, hey. I got so much back, I think I'm never running out, yeah.
All right, please welcome in Daniel Kuzemka, goalkeeper for Charleston Battery. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having me, Caleb.
Yeah, no problem. So, first question I have for you is we're going to start at the beginning of your career, right?
All right.
So, you spent your first 3 seasons in college at Clemson. I'm right about that. Am I right about that?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
just making sure.
First 3 years there, yeah.
So, I kind of want to talk about like when you're like 15, 16, 17. What was that like process like of like where you played and then what was the recruiting process like for Clemson? Because Clemson for any sport, I'm sure, is not an easy thing to get recruited to.
Sure.
So like how did you go about that?
Yeah, so high school is when I really started like picking up soccer. I also played high school football and basketball my freshman year. So I didn't really focus on soccer too much until like high school sports ended. And then my sophomore year was like, okay, like I want to focus like pretty much solely on soccer. So I was playing club for a good club team in Arlington, Virginia. We were one of the top teams in the country for club. But the USSDA soccer academy started up, but I hadn't yet joined that. And that's really like the best platform when I was in high school to get recruited.
Yeah.
So my junior year, I went to Bethesda only, the academy team up in Bethesda, Maryland. And that's kind of really where my career, I guess, kind of started taking off. That's where I started getting exposure from a bunch of colleges, just playing at our academy games, playing against New York Red Bulls U18 team or Philadelphia Unions or DC Uniteds. We'd have 30, 40 college coaches there. So you play well, you're in front of, 30 or 40 Division I college coaches, also Division II and III coaches as well.
Yeah.
That's where I started to get recruited personally, playing in the U.S. Soccer Developmental Academy. And my junior year, I had a really good year, and I played really well at the Academy Showcase down in Florida. And that's where, Clemson saw me at first. I already had some other offers, but, Clemson was a school that was on my radar because, the big football school, they went to the national championship the year before in soccer, one of the most historic soccer programs. So I went down to their 2-day winter ID camp so they could see me again in person live, since it's hard for them down in South Carolina to get up to Maryland and see me all the time. And I played really well, and they offered me there at the camp. And, I went home, I thought about it, and I ended up taking the offer about a week later. And yeah, that's how I pretty much my high school recruiting process there, just making that transition to the academy and then getting the most exposure as possible by playing in front of as many college coaches as I could. So,
Yeah. So what was it like playing for Clemson? Because Clemson athletically is such a historic, huge school. Did you feel like a special like what did it feel like playing there?
Yeah, it was really cool. It's sports are big down in Clemson. I'm not sure if you've been there, but like it's a college town, and in Clemson, like there really only is the university. So sports are a big deal, for like the students, the people of the city, just the whole state in general. Clemson's huge in South Carolina. So being a part of such a big historic soccer program was really cool. People knew who you were, which, makes you feel good about yourself. You worked really hard to get there, and it feels nice to be recognized for sure. But no, it was a great experience. I learned a lot, really good level. Was there with some other really good players, and it was a good 3 years, and I learned a lot there. I got better, but it wasn't an ideal 3 years. But I learned a lot, and it made me a better player and better person for sure, and helped me get here to be a professional. So
I'm from North Carolina, so it's huge Clemson fans there. So I'm sure I could imagine. So in your 3 years there, what were some of the hardest things you went through, and what were some of your favorite things that you went through?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing was not playing. I didn't get as many games as I wanted to, and as a keeper, only one keeper plays. So 2 of my 3 years there, I was the number 2 out of 4 keepers, and it's hard. Like just being there and being on the bench, not playing. And there's other guys in the stands that aren't even dressing, but it's hard when you're not playing as well because you need the minutes. So, but it was great. A lot of really other good goalies that were there with me. They pushed me a lot. And out of the 5 goalies I was there with, 3 of us are playing pro now. So it's
Oh,
great.
wow.
Yeah.
The Clemson production is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I looked at some of all sports in general, just the production of professional athletes that school produces. It's crazy.
It's insane. So, yeah, I'd say that was probably like the toughest, realization there, like kind of realizing like after my 3rd year, like if I want to pursue my dream and like be a professional and, chase, higher levels of soccer, like I'm going to have to transfer where I could be the number 1 and play every game. So, because I made a lot of good friends in 3 years there at a fun school like that. You meet a lot of really good people, even outside the soccer program. And it was hard, to have that, epiphany is like, wow, I got to leave here if I want to accomplish my individual and personal goals. So that was probably the hardest thing. And the best thing about being on the team there was, just meeting so many good people, like a lot of the guys there are like really genuine, down to earth people, friends for life, and also like great soccer players. Like so many of my friends there that I'm so close with, like they're playing professional as well, and like all different levels, MLS, USL, MLS Next, just all over, even out in Europe. So it's just cool seeing all of my friends and, them chase their dreams as well and me chase mine, and, just reminiscing back on the days where we were 18, just, laughing around playing Xbox and, going to the dining hall and going to sorority functions. And now we're here, like, getting paid to play for a living. So it's probably the biggest thing and the most grateful thing about Clemson for me is, the people I met for sure.
Yeah. So when you left Clemson, what was the transfer process like? And then what did it mean to you? Like, why did you choose Charlotte?
Well, when I decided I wanted to transfer, it was like the first year the transfer portal was a thing, and it makes it very accessible for other college coaches to see who's available to pick up. So it was good timing for me, So I entered the transfer portal, and I had a number of phone calls and emails within 24 hours. It helps coming from, one of the most elite programs in college soccer. But I talked to a good number of schools and had some options, but Charlotte really stuck out to me because of the coaching staff. The head coach is great, down to earth guy, great coach, knows the game really well. And a winner, like he's known to win, makes the NCAA tournament every year. And that's something I wanted to do personally. I wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. I didn't want to drop down from Clemson to a school where, we're getting, destroyed 4-3-0 every game. I want to compete. I want to be on a top 25 team. And Coach Langen from Charlotte, head coach, he's a winner. And that's what I wanted. And the second thing was the goalie coach, Brian Edwards. I was just blown away by how he presented the game and, how him and I had like an instant relationship off our first phone call. Like there was just a click, and he knew he could help me reach my goals, and he could push me to get to where I wanted to be. And I'm just grateful that I chose Charlotte because it was a great 2 years, and I couldn't have asked for any more from anyone there. So Charlotte was incredible program, incredible place, good people.
So going back to what you said about that NCAA tournament bid, what was it like being able to compete in such a high level like that? And just what did it mean to you and your team to get to play there?
It meant a lot. That's the biggest stage in college soccer. And being able to be one of the leaders on that team and, help represent us and our university on the biggest stage in college soccer it was a good feeling for sure. Because, only 48 teams out of all of Division I get to play in the NCAA tournament. It's tough to make it. So it was a really good feeling, and just to go out there on our home field and be able to play in front of our own fans on the biggest stage was awesome. And night I'll never forget. Yeah.
So towards the end of your Charlotte times, what was your decision to decide to go pro? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to go pro, like since I was probably 15 or 16 years old, I was like, I want to be a professional athlete. I want to be a professional soccer player. And when our season ended with Charlotte, there's the MLS draft, there's trials, there's just a bunch of soccer's interesting. It's different with other sports.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many different leagues. Like here in the US, we have probably 5 or 6 different pro leagues.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. It was hectic, like putting together film, being selected or being entered into the MLS draft was a pretty cool accomplishment. Talking to some MLS organizations was pretty cool as well. And then signing with an agent was very stressful, because they're the one that has all the connections. They're doing the lobbying for you. And that was stressful, talking to some big agencies, smaller agencies, individual agents. That was probably the most stressful part for me because they almost control your future. And I'm just so happy I chose who I chose because great guy, he's more than just an agent. Like he's a friend and someone there for me. So it was just hectic. Like anyone that's going to go through that process of, graduating college or leaving college early to go pro, it's just hectic is the best way to put it. There's just so much, there's so many movements and pieces that are just scrambled, and just trying to put them together is difficult. But, if you have the right people in your corner, you can work it out if you're good enough to play.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the third person I've talked to on this show. And it seems like going pro is not an easy thing at all. So, and I think hectic was a very interesting way you put it, because that's what I want to get out of this, is what it's like to go. So what made you choose Charleston? What was why are you glad? Are you glad you ended up there?
No, I am. I'm so glad I ended up here. I had a couple places I was considering going to, and I decided to come down here for a number of reasons. One of them is just the location. Like we're in a great, down
great area,
great weather, great fields, and as a goalkeeper, playing on turf it kills your body, and it's nice to go out there every day and play on grass because it's my job now, and I got to take care of my body, and it's just much nicer going into an office where you're playing on nice Bermuda grass compared to turf in the freezing cold up in like Connecticut or somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was like a big thing for me because you got to be healthy, and I've always kind of struggled with turf. It beats up my body, so I really wanted to play on grass. Another one is one of my teammates from college at Charlotte. He plays here as well. So, and he was my center back. So I thought it'd be nice to, get back playing with him and have that cohesion because we played for a year. So we're super tight, and he's my roommate as well here too. So he's not here right now, or I'd have him say hello, but he was another reason why I wanted to come too. And just the goalie coach too here, Brian Jones, is like, he's the best, like probably the best goalkeeper coach in the USL championship. Like he's already gotten me so much better, and like the levels that I think he can take me to is incredible. So there was just so many reasons, and it was just an obvious decision, like when I had the opportunity to come down here and, play in front of the coaches and see if they wanted to sign me, I was like, I have to come here. It's unbelievable. So grateful for everyone here to help make it happen.
Yeah, you hit the lottery in location to play. I love Charleston.
I did. It's awesome.
It's one of my favorite places. And and what you said about turf, it's annoying playing in America and every freaking field is turf. Because it's like any position, turf it's painful.
It is.
I played 2 years in high school on a turf field, and it's so much different. I love playing on grass fields.
It's just a different vibe out there on grass. It's just so much more enjoyable too. It just feels like real soccer, So
the ball just moves better, in my opinion.
It does.
It moves the way it's supposed to. I don't know why. I hate turf. Me and turf have a beef.
Yeah, I'm a fan of turf.
So you talked about your goalkeeping coach. So I've never talked to a keeper before. So what is it like studying a set position? Like, what do you do to prepare? Like you said you didn't play till you're like 15, 16, but you've made a pro. So what was it? What did it take to study this position and get to as good as you are?
Yeah, goalkeeping is unique. It's different than every other position. It's very specialized and individualized as well. There's not like one specific way to play like a goalkeeper. Like you can look at, a keeper like Keylor Navas, who's 6 foot tall, or you can look at Courtois, who's 6'7".
Yeah.
They play totally different. So you need someone that knows the game really well as a goalkeeper coach and can identify your tool set and help you maximize that. And that's something that I found at Charlotte with my goalkeeper coach, Brian Edwards, and also my goalkeeper coach here, Brian Jones. They just have a very strong knowledge of the game, and they can help me maximize my physical attributes and my technical attributes to help me be, the best version of myself, because there's 3 goalkeepers here and we're all completely different. Like there's a certain way, to like pass the ball or, to make runs in behind as a 9. But as a goalkeeper, like it's individualized, different techniques, it's so different. And a lot of it's just like really working your butt off, because like in a game, you can't show your work ethic. You can't press, you can't make recovery runs. You can't do certain things while in training. That's where you have to make that up. You have to put in those extra reps and, work really hard in training, because in a 90-minute match, you may not touch the ball. But if you're a field player, like in a 90-minute match, either way, you can run your tail off, and you can show your work ethic. You can show your determination. Like you can't do that as goalkeeper, and you got to do that at the training pitch. So it's important to have a goalkeeper coach who really knows the game really strongly and just pushes you to your limit. And that's what I have here. And it's just incredible. Like I'm just growing tremendously and rapidly. And I'm really excited, just keep working with him here. So
What are some of the biggest things that he's taught you?
Really,
you don't have to reveal all the secrets.
Really how to maximize like my power, like my explosiveness. I'm a very explosive athlete, and just like little tweaks to like my foot positioning or the angle of my knee while I'm diving or creating and generating power. It's just little micro adjustments. It makes the biggest difference. It's a game of inches, and especially with goalkeeping, like if you get a finger to a ball, you can push the ball around the post. But if you don't, like you're a half a centimeter off, it's going to the goal. So just finding those little micro adjustments in your game to make a difference is really what it's all about at this level. And that's something he's been able to do with me so far. So just him really teaching me how to maximize my physical attributes and my explosiveness is something that really helped me with.
So when you, I don't know if you watch other games, but when you watch, like, doesn't even have to be a high level, like a Champions League game or even like an MLS game, how do you watch the game differently? Because a fan just watches it. Watch it. Like I watch it because I watch how certain players play and like outfield and stuff, because I've always been a winger. But how do you watch the game?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like I watch it from like a goalkeeper's perspective. Like I'm always, watching what they're doing, like their movements, like even like their movement without the ball. Like if they're gonna get a back pass, like I pick up on things, and I'm like take like visual images, like oh they're creating more depth, or they're moving laterally across the goal to give themselves more time. So I really try and learn while I'm watching. It's hard because I want to enjoy the game as well, but I also want to like get something out of it at the same time, because it's hard to do both. But I try and watch the game from like a learning perspective, because I'm trying to get to that level one day where I'm playing in the MLS or even in Europe one day. So I'm just trying to soak in as much as I can anytime I can. So watching soccer is a big part of that. So I watch a lot of soccer for sure and try and learn from them.
Did you watch the Leeds game this morning?
No, I didn't. I had family in town this weekend, so I actually didn't watch any of the games this weekend. But I saw crazy results the last 2 days.
Yeah, I tried to catch some before I saw my mom today. There was a big goalkeeping mistake in that game. You might see it on Instagram or something, but Melier had a bad touch, and then Nketiah just slid in. So what is that like when you get a back pass from your defender? Like, because I don't know how you don't get that much time to make a decision. Like, what is the like adrenaline rush, or what is it like when you get that ball, and how do you distribute it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all confidence. It's something that, goalkeeping is all the pressure is on you. There's no one to back you up. There's no one to defend you if you make a mistake. And, your confidence comes from training. So, like I wouldn't say you're really nervous or you're, hesitant when the ball's coming back to you and you see pressure coming, because it's something you do every day in training, especially at any professional or high level. It's just execution at that point. I'm sure his touch wasn't good or he didn't scan the field right.
Yeah.
If there was really that heavy of pressure, I didn't see the goal. And if he scanned the field and the pressure right, he probably would have cleared the ball first time. You always err on the side of caution. So,
Yeah.
I guess he probably didn't execute right. It probably wasn't nerves. It was probably execution.
It was a pretty bad touch.
Yeah.
So because the last two people I've had on, they've talked about who they've kind of modeled their game after. And I want to know who is one of your favorite players and who's someone that you've studied to be a better keeper.
Yeah, someone that I've changed it throughout the years, but like Kasper Schmeichel's really been my guy the last 4 or 5 years.
Great keeper.
Just for like a number of reasons, his story of him, playing in like 4th or 5th division, from going from Man U to dropping way down, having all that pressure because of his father being, the superstar.
Yeah.
And, him just grinding it out. It's not easy to, go from being a star to going to play into a low club. And goalkeeping is really mental. And he also does like a lot of podcasts. And he's really good about, explaining how it's a grind and how goalkeepers are so unique and how mental and how tough you got to be mentally, and just keep sticking to it and, learning from your mistakes, not, being down on yourself. So he's someone I've really looked up to because of just his story more than anything. I mean, obviously he's a great keeper, won the Prem, like played in World Cups, everything. And I just really look up to him because of his story more than anything. So it's someone that his stories inspired me, to say the least, just to keep going and keep believing in yourself and, don't cut yourself short, just keep going.
Yeah. He was one of my favorite keepers in the last World Cup. I mean, he was insane.
Yeah.
That I don't remember what stage they made it to. I think it was quarterfinals, but he was so good. He's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love
him. So I noticed this might be a dumb question, but I noticed on Instagram you're followed by Begović. So what is it like to be recognized by someone who is a legend of the game, who played at such a high level for so long?
Yeah. No, Asmir's great. I talk to Asmir all the time, actually. He actually sponsors me with his glove brand, AB1 Goalkeeping. So anyone who's a goalkeeper and looking to try out gloves, I definitely recommend his. I've been using them for the last 3 months ever since I became a pro, and they're great. I think they're so much better than Nike and Adidas, what I've used the last probably 10 years of my life. But, he's a great guy. It's good to talk to him too, because he's a bit older. He's been around. He's probably 36 now. Asmir's getting up there, and he's played all over the place,
Premier League champion too.
Yeah, he's a Prem champ. He's played on the biggest stage for years and years and years, and just his experience and his knowledge of the game and like what he can give back to me, his knowledge is just, it's awesome to have that as a tool, someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And, just get advice from, because, I'm just starting off my pro career now. Like, I'm a rookie. I'm just starting off, and, he's kind of on the down end of his career, getting older. And it's just good to, hear his stories and just hear his advice and what he would do in my situation, looking back at his 15-year plus career he's had. So it's just a really good tool to have. And he's a great guy, really, really good guy, down to earth person.
Great player. I've watched so many of his games. I've always been a big fan of his. So going back to Charleston, and so I just checked the standings early. You guys are 13th, which is not, it's still very early in the season.
It's early. We've been struggling a bit, but whole new coaching staff. I think there's only 6 players from the team last year here. So, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's all new people here working in. We're trying to figure out, a lot of things that I can't really discuss because it's confidential. But I think we're going to get things going soon. We've got really good players, and the staff is great. It's just figuring out our identity more than anything, and we're all so new. Like, there's 26 signed players and 20 new players. So it's so hard, it's just finding that team chemistry and the cohesion and figuring out, the best style of play for our personnel. But I think we're going to get there soon. We've been getting our results don't show our performance out there on the pitch, but I think it'll come soon. We're getting close to getting around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to win in any sport with new people, young people.
Yeah.
It takes a bit. So, but I'm excited to watch the rest of the season. I love the USL. So talking about your team, so what is your relationship with the primary starting keeper, Joe? Is it Kuzempka?
Yeah, Kuzemka.
What's your guys' relationship like?
Oh, we're super close. He's been around the league for, I think this is his 6th year now or 5th year. He's been a pro for a bit, so he's kind of a veteran, so it's good. He's showing me the ropes. He's teaching me a lot of things off the field, how to be a pro, how to take care of your body, just how to live this lifestyle. It's so different. Like, we work I'm up from 7:30 and I finish my work. So from like 7:30 to like 1, like I'm busy, like I'm in my zone, and the rest of the day, we have the day off, like, and like, is it bad for me to go hang out at the beach for a couple hours a day, or is it okay? It's maybe not good to go be out in the sun, it drains your body. So it's just, he's teaching me a lot how to be a pro. It's the biggest thing, because there's so much free time. I don't have school. I don't have study hall. Like, there's no social events. It's just like, what do you do with your free time to maximize, your career? So he's teaching me a lot on how to be a pro, and even on the field too, just little pointers and tips. So it's good to be someone that's been around for a bit as a young goalkeeper, because goalkeeping is all experience.
What has your transition been like, going from student athlete to full-time? This is your full-time job. What is the scheduling like? Is it harder? What's been the biggest difference?
What am I going to do with my day, really? Like, my day's done at 1:00. So it's just, am I going to go read? Am I going to watch, Champions League? Like, there's some days I don't know what to do with myself here. Just like, like, what am I going to do? Because like, there's only so much you can do. Like, you don't want to go out and, do something physically demanding on your body, but you also don't want to just lay around all day. So it's just finding like a happy medium of, keeping yourself occupied and knowing when to chill and lay low. So that's probably the biggest thing, because like in college, like as a college athlete, you're so busy, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're jam packed, even later some nights doing homework. Like, you don't have free time. You don't have time to think about, what am I going to do? But sometimes I'll catch myself scrolling on Instagram or TikTok for an hour. I'm like, holy crap, like I'm wasting my day. But really not, since I've got nothing else to do. So that's probably the biggest difference for me, for sure. Just the amount of free time you get.
Well, I mean, it's hard enough being a student. I couldn't imagine being a student athlete.
Yeah.
So, kind of going to wrap it up a little bit. So, what advice would you give to young keepers who are getting around that high school age? What is some of the biggest advice you give to them?
Just keep going. You got to believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing, like, I think, in a keeper, because you're going to get scored on and your confidence is going to get rattled and you're going to make mistakes. But at the end of the day, like, you got to be your biggest like supporter and believer in yourself, or you're never going to make your goals happen. There was times where I was down and, I even like debated, like, not quitting soccer, but like, do I really want to play pro? Like, do I really want to do this? And you just got to have that unshakable self-belief that, you're the man or you're the girl, if you're a girl playing goalkeeper, and just, keep going, because the hard work will pay off. You don't know when it's going to pay off.
Hey, warrior the rover, I'ma do this for my soldiers. Doing shit I'm not supposed to. I got lean all in my soul.